These are the ongoing video logs chronicling the adventures of the starship pilot Sir Livingston. Welcome to Explorer's Log.
Hey there, my name is Johnny Pugh, in-game character name Sir Livingston, and today I want to tell you about my life in low-sec and how it's been so far. Now, it's been 4 months since I sort of officially moved out to low-sec and said goodbye to high-sec for the rest of my EVE experience. At least that's what I hope to say, because there's really no more reason for me to go back to high-sec except for to do market transactions or to buy cheaper ships and not have to deal with the markups that you experience in low-sec and null-sec. But yeah, so I've been living in low-sec for 4 months, and it's been interesting. I've grown as a player for sure. I think once players take that step and decide not to exist in high-sec, not to use it as a staging point anymore, you learn things about the game that you never would have. Yeah, that's pretty much a given. I don't even know why I even mentioned that. You are going to change, and you're going to experience and grow as a player far faster than I would say if you persisted in high-sec. So low-sec was a great choice, especially for exploration, because of the lack of population, the increased value of sites, the ability to frequent more sites because of the lack of population of explorers out here. Of course, there are plenty of explorers, but far fewer than I experienced in high-sec. But also, I want to talk about a few key points that I want to touch on here. First being that my wallet has increased by nearly double, and now that's not including all the expenses and things I paid for. I bought a few Plex and here and there, and I still have pretty much double the wallet size that I came out with, which is not too bad, especially since I've done very casual exploration. Nothing like I used to in high-sec, profit exploration every single week, and whenever I had time, hop on, do some exploration. Now I just do it somewhat casually. When I feel like logging on, I'll log on, do some exploration, log off, continue on my day, that kind of thing. So I've doubled my wallet, and I've also become, and this is the benefit of moving out to low-sec and actually living out here, I mean living, you will become so very comfortable in your environment that you no longer get that nervous feeling. Remember when you first jumped to low-sec, if you were a high-sec player, and you first jumped out to low-sec or to null-sec, and you get that nervousness, that somewhat of a butterfly feeling, because in EVE Online, losses count. And now that I live in low-sec, that feeling, I can't remember the last time I've had it. Living in low-sec has made me a player that, I guess, you don't really fear these areas anymore. There's no fear to be had. The only thing you're really concerned with is your strategy. The strategy involved with surviving. You're not really thinking about, oh, everyone's out to get me, I'm gonna die if I jump through this gate without the scout, and it's just not like that anymore. And that's the benefit to actually living out here. No more butterflies. Get rid of that nervousness. And also, I'm sure it'll help with your PvP from then on. You'll be far more aggressive. Well, aggressive can be a bad thing. Yeah, I gotta be calculative. You gotta be able to, decide what's good and what's not a good choice out there. Not having fear is also somewhat of a bad thing in some cases. Having fear will actually cause you to second guess yourself and to think about a situation before you take action immediately. So fear is a good thing. I can't deny that. But fear restricting you from progressing in the game is a bad thing, and I'm happy to say that living out in low-sec has somewhat just squashed that entirely out of my high-sec being anyway. Now, my Tengu exploration fit, or just my Tengu fit, it's not exploration fit. My Tengu fit for low-sec has been perfected. I've been using it for the past 3 months, and it's near to perfection now. And I'm happy to say that I don't see any other way to improve it except for spending more money on the modules. So the fit, it works perfectly. Now, the only thing I might actually touch on is the rigs. The rigs on my Tengu fit could be changed, but I'm happy with as it is. It works perfectly for what it does. Also, my Exploration Pilgrim fit, that fit is near perfection, I would say. Cost effective, very cost effective, works perfectly. The only thing is I might drop another armor rig and just put another gravity capacitor rig to increase my scan probe strength. That's the only thing. Of course, because I've experienced that you don't really need much tank at all for these low-sec profession sites. You don't need much tank, and I wouldn't even suggest having rigs on it. If it's just a low-sec ship, throw some capacitor rigs, gravity capacitor rigs on there, and it'll operate much better, believe me. Now, the other thing I want to touch on is the fact that I've lost no ships. 0 ships I've lost so far. And throughout my EVE experience, I've only lost 1 PvE ship in my lifetime of playing EVE. And that's probably due to my overcautious nature when it comes to EVE and how I operate. Now, overcautiousness can be a bad thing. It slows you down. You don't get where you want to go as fast as other people do. But that's just because you want to get there with the least amount of loss. Right? You don't want to get there with substantial losses. You want to control your environment. If you're not in control of where you're going, that sounds like PvP to me. Now, if you're PvEing, you should be in control of your environment. You should have that feeling that you know that your ship will be absolutely safe, and the odds of you losing your ship is like, what, 1 in 100 maybe. Some kind of perfect storm of events that occurs. Maybe you get disconnected at a gate and the client doesn't jump you, and you're just sitting there and you get pointed. That kind of thing can happen, and you never know when that perfect storm is going to hit. But if it's in your control, you should never lose a ship. That's how it's been for me. Yeah, so it's been 4 months since I've been out in low sec, and I haven't lost a ship yet, and I'm quite satisfied with that. So I might actually decide to jump into some null sec pretty soon and see how my ships fare out there and how my strategy works. We'll see. I'll keep you up to date on that. I'm actually going to bring, like I said in my Facebook and Twitter posts, that I'm bringing the log style back in my Explorer's log. And of course there will be other walkthroughs, DED sites, site examples, but this is called Explorer's log, and I'll try to bring back the log style, because that's what this is all about. This is about me bringing you along for the ride and letting you actually experience something that either you're not into exploration, or you're not yet there because you're a high-sec explorer. And also, it's my story. It's the Explorer's log story. And one last thing I want to touch on is the hostile activity out here, the locals that I've experienced where I'm currently occupying. Now, the only thing that really concerns me is the roaming gangs, the gate camps, and the dirty gates. And if you know what dirty gates are, then you are either a null sec resident or a low sec resident. And you know those dirty gates. Those are like the covert ops bane right there. For those of you who do not know what dirty gates are, they are gates that are covered with drones, cargo containers, objects that are jettisoned from ships or discarded, because they will allow the gate campers to prevent ships that come through from cloaking. Right? So when you jump through, you land, what, 12 to 15 kilometers from the gate itself, and within that range there'll be drones out there, cargo containers, things that will prevent you from actually cloaking. Now, this will give the gate camping ships the chance to lock you up and destroy you on your attempt to either escape or reapproach the gate. And also just know that these dirty gates aren't set up randomly throughout the universe. These players who set up these dirty gates, they know what they're doing. They know exactly which systems get the most traffic, which systems cause there to be an actual, what's the term, a bottleneck of sorts, a bottleneck system that will allow them to get the most travelers per hour, so they can increase, their profits, their kills. If they're out there for kill mails, fine. But most of these players, I would imagine, they're out there for profits, because if you're setting up dirty gates, you're preventing people from cloaking, and people who are cloaking are also often carrying high value items. Cloaky haulers, they're quite valuable targets to attack because they're often carrying, like I said, high value items, just like the covert ops frigates and stealth bombers. They're T2 ships as well. If you're looking for some decent kill mails, T2 hulls are always nice to pick up on. And that's dirty gates, pretty much, in just a nutshell. Also, nullsec is a little different. They have dirty bubbles, dirty gates, Just all, it's a complete lawless space out there, aside from the actual alliances controlling them. And that's pretty much it that I wanted to talk with you today and tell you a bit about my low-sec experience and just the things I've learned and give you a general update. I hope you enjoyed this, and I thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.